Hello, here's my vlog for April 24th, 9/14 on Monday. I I had the worst insomnia last night. I was just laying here like until, oh man, probably right about sunrise. Because I remember laying here and looking at my clock at my phone and it said like 4:35 in the morning. Only like 25 minutes before the gym opens. I was thinking to myself, I should get a gym membership. Because I was so wide awake, I might as well just go to the gym. But sure enough, as the sun comes up, maybe like an hour later or something like that, I got groggy and fell asleep. And then I was woken up by Paula calling. And I didn't answer because I was sleeping, but I wasn't really. I was sort of able to get to sleep. Not really. But then my mom called, and then I wasn't really able to get to sleep. But I was kind of laying here, so I got my rest. So yesterday, yesterday was the day that I was going to do, exercise, fix the bikes, and then do my test, try to pass the test. Ended up spending like all the time basically working on the test. I did my dumbbell exercise a little bit, but I got he sets into the 35 pounder, and I didn't want to do anymore. I didn't feel good. I felt sick yesterday. It was only 12 days since I quit weed, and I think I still have a lot of that withdrawal going on. So yeah, probably the best way for me to get healthy again is just by like endurance stuff. That's the best way to clear out my system. Yesterday the mail came. My mom came because we were gonna actually work out here because we've never done that. But she came and but she was feeling tired when she got here, and I didn't feel good either. So we were like, all right, let's not work out. But we watched this, but there's this other thing I wanted to do with her where I watch videos about ancient Rome, Egypt. On my big 80-inch TV, it's like you're there. And so I showed her this video about the Red Pyramid being the ammonia factory. This guy, Land of Kim, came up with the idea, and I'm like, oh my god, it was amazing. I believe him. The guy who invented ammonia modeled his machine, and that started the Industrial Revolution with fertilizer, off of the Red Pyramid. It has the same exact design for the 3 chambers where it compresses it does like chemistry through compression. They would make ammonia water, but so that was cool. But then she left, and I got these parts, these little blocks in the mail that I needed to do my brakes, but I went to stick the syringe into the bottom of the brakes, and it turns out I need an adapter. But it was right at 7 o'clock. Every time I get to that point, it's 7 o'clock, and it was like bike shops were closed. In all the hardware stores were closed too. So I'm gonna go into the hardware store today and get what ChatGTP says I need to it's just a hose to stick it in there and fill it up. So crazy. I didn't know you needed all those different parts. That's what I'm gonna do right now after this video. But I spent most of yesterday actually fixing my page. Like, I wanted to pass the test for England, 1500 to 2000. So I was taking it, and I realized that I'd forgotten. Like, I built this like a few months ago, like 3 months ago or something. And I think I might be getting a phone call in 11 minutes from Front Range Community College. I have to take 2 classes there to be able to teach preschool. So, yeah, so I was looking at this and trying to take the test, and then I found more boo-boo. So, like, since I built this just a few months ago, I guess I changed my philosophy about how I wanted to organize it. I up on the top row where you have the different war stuff. I was having treaties. Like, these were treaties, all 3 of those. This one, I instead of having the war of the first England versus Dutch war. Oh no, I might not even have it right. Whoa, why didn't that not go? Let's try this again. There. So the first Anglo-Dutch war, instead of having the Anglo-Dutch war there, I had the treaty of the Anglo-Dutch war. Treaty of Breda there instead of the actual war. And same thing with here. Instead of the second Anglo-Dutch war, or the third Anglo-Dutch war, I had a treaty. And instead of the 9 Years' War here, I had the treaty for it. And so I just had a different philosophy. I guess my philosophy was that was when that decade, it was when the outcome of the war happened. So that's what's more popular or more important for the decade. But no, but now to me it's clear that you want to put the war there. The war, like if somebody's like, what happened in the 1910s? You're not going to be like, oh, it was the Treaty of Versailles. You're going to be like, no, it was freaking World War I. I don't even know what the treaty at the end of World War II is called. But so in the 40s, it was World War II. It wasn't the treaty. So it's always like the most difficult and time consuming when you're doing something for the very first time. Kind of like fixing this bike, my hydraulic brake for my gravel bike. Like, it's so hard to do it the first time because every time I go and try to do it, it turns out I don't have the right tools and I have to go in and buy a whole bunch more tools. Or that I lost the tools from when I had before. That's another problem. I misplaced a whole bunch of tools for somehow they didn't get in my main tools. So, yeah, hopefully I can finish the test today without having to rewrite it, because whenever I have to get in there and edit this, it takes forever because, the computer takes forever to boot up Dreamweaver. And then yesterday, Dreamweaver kept freezing on me. So I just had to just wait for it to get unfrozen, and that'd take like 10, 20 minutes or something because this page is so big. And like my computer's old. And what else happened? Yeah, and there were some other snafus too. So yeah, and it's exhausting. And then of course I have to get in here and relearn this stuff, and I like forgot way more than I thought I would forget, because there's some things I have to remember the names of, like the mainly all the different wars and battles and stuff, because you're like, it was the battle of the war of, but then you have to remember the name of it. Yeah. So anyways, I was like also studying the stuff in here too. Like yesterday I was studying the Bibles because the different Bibles are on here. Technically for this test, you don't have to be able to explain anything to pass it. You just have to remember the name of it, and that's good enough because then you could explain enough of it after that. But I've been retaking this test so many times that I became interested, and I wanted to study it. So I was learning, all this different things that are in here, like the ins and the outs of it. Like now I can explain what an octant is and how it works. I can explain what a sextant is and how that works. I can explain the fourth chronometer and how that works. And then, of course, I know the history of like clocks now, portable clocks and clock towers, and how they rewind them with the flywheel without having to reset it. And yeah, so it's just dragging on. But like I was really trying to focus on this. And unfortunately, when I have to get in here and like edit it, that's like working on the website again, and I can't do that anymore. But I'm thoroughly done with that. Like the addiction for that's gone. I've moved on from smoking weed. I'm never going to drink a drop of alcohol again or eat, Taco Bell ever again, or Burger King or any of that. Energy drinks, never an energy drink again. But the problem is I'm not bouncing back. My health isn't bouncing back. It's going to take longer than that because I was just so deep in. I did it for so long working on this without exercise. Yeah, like, so and I had so much discomfort yesterday. It sucked. That my like muscles from like muscle atrophy. So, yeah, I really, really, really want to pass this dang test because once I do it, I've done it, and then I can. The next one will be way easier. I have to build it from scratch, but that won't take too long. And then I have to take the ancient history test, and that's when I'm just going to straight up start asking for money. When I start doing that, after I take this and the history test. Yeah, one thing about like making this timeline, my history timeline, is you have to be like, one thing that about me from building this history timeline. I mean, you could delude yourself and say that I didn't learn any history. No, actually, that I learned at least some history from this. You also know that I have a crazy work ethic, but you also know that I'm consistent, dude, because like my ideas about things can remain consistent, fused in time, like over time, and have the same philosophy. Because if you're indecisive, you're never going to be able to make a website like this, because every time you get back on it, you're going to just change your mind and you're going to change it. You're going to be editing yourself in circles and never build it, ever. The only way to actually build this is to move forward by being decisive. So, when I was building this, I had to be like 110% sure that I wanted it to look like how I wanted it. And even then, I naturally have to edit things, but you don't want to have to make changes where you have to do it site-wide, because then that'll take way too long to fix everything on a site like this. So you basically have to nail it the first time. And I've done a pretty good job, but yeah, this horizontal, to vertical history test is like still wasn't decisive enough. I still couldn't. For some reason I was putting treaties instead of the war itself, but now I'm like, okay, yeah, of course, the war. Yeah, and another thing that was difficult with this was that, as you can see, it has war. Here. Whoops. It has, let's wait for it to flip back. It has red war with the blue in the middle is, so the red is war, treaties, and like death, like plagues. The middle is science, technology, and then the bottom is culture. But sometimes these things overlap, you know? Like, for example, over here in 1760, over here in like 1765 or whenever it was, you see that, factory right there? So that's under culture. But that factory there, that's like the official beginning of the Industrial Revolution with the spinning jenny, which spun a bunch of threads at the same time. And that's under culture, because under science and technology, you have the fourth chronometer. And the fourth chronometer has to be there because that is when they invented longitude, which was like huge breakthrough. So I had to have that there. But you also have to have the Industrial Revolution. So the 1860s for England were big. You had two things that are indispensable on there. So in order to be able to fit them both on there, you just bump one down to culture. So I bumped the spinning jenny down to the culture. And then I justified it by, like, you know, that's so big that it transcends science and technology inventions. It goes into culture. Because, you know, sparked the Industrial Revolution, so that's when they needed factory workers, and that's when they brought all the factory people in from the fields and started abusing child labor laws and all that kind of stuff and working people to death. So that's kind of like a cultural thing. So, you know, sometimes there's like overlap between these different ones. Oh, is that my... Hello?